right, so please rise to light the candle. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Dhamma friends. um, so we have come to the last noble path factor, which means by today, I would say at the end of today's Sutta discussion, we will be finalizing the path factors, but for next Monday, what we will be doing is a review of the Noble Eightfold Path, not a review of the Dhammacakkappavattana. So it keeps going. So this is the idea. So we'll get started by respecting the Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu Sammā sambuddhassa. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu Sammā sambuddhassa. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu Sammā sambuddhassa. So today we are here at what do you call the right concentration. The Pali word for concentration is Samādhi. There's a I think huge misunderstanding about Samādhi, partly because Samādhi has been a pre-sectarian, pre-Buddhist practice. This adds to a lot of confusions. Especially the Samadhi practice in the West is very scattered and confusing. There are three types of Samadhi practices in the West: light, medium, strong, alluding to different signs, objects, and there are two types of, I would say, kind of people. Let's say one kind is the retreat groups. I mean, there are very good retreats. One kind is that the teachers saying that in a 2 weeks, probably a month of retreat, you could have a very rapid samadhi. Of course, the Sammā Samādhi is not that kind of a samadhi. You can get it in a week, in a month. It appears as a consequence of the practice of the whole 8 path factors. So those little types of concentration, little types of glimpses of your meditation should not be taken as Sammā Samādhi. It's a profound, deep concentration which takes time. And then the other side is practitioners who might think that it is possible. So I would caution you to take a medium, I would say middle path between these two. Not get disillusioned by the teacher's way that you could get the samadhi in 2 months, 2 weeks, 1 month, that perspective. And on the other side, the practitioners' little understanding, true glimpses of their meditation that I achieved samadhi, and take the middle path. Of course, it is possible to get up to Sammā Samādhi, but it takes time. It may take time because it is a consequence, it is an outcome of the practice of the Noble Eightfold Path. To me, it's like you could be a good singer at home, and probably other people might say, you sing well, maybe in the bathroom. But if you go to a professional musical orchestra, they might say you are not up to that level. That's why Samadhi should not be misunderstood, underestimated. Having said that, I would like you to understand that this is the outcome. This is the outcome of Sammadhi. The purpose of Sammadhi is to attain Sammā Samādhi, right view. Without right view, Samadhi is going to be null and void. Any Samadhi is going to be useless, meaningless. So, what we have to understand here is how do we come to Sammā Samādhi, right concentration? Let me ask you, concentration, what do you think about it? It's a very popular word. How do you normally think you get concentrated in your life? You can get concentrated in many ways. Even by listening to a song, you can get concentrated. Some people say, I ran into a meditation when I listened to this song, right? Their own version of meditation. Partly the reason why in the West this practice is scattered and confused is that they are not familiarized with the text. They just go by whatever they think. Light, medium, strong levels of their concentration. So, concentration that is earned through akusala ways. Can you get concentration through akusala ways? Can you? I have an example here. A cat is fully concentrated on a mouse hole to catch a mouse. Is that a concentration? That is a concentration. You know, neatly and with so much attention looking at the rat hole, the mouse hole. Whenever the rat is coming out, there he goes and he catches. Also, a heron is standing on one foot and fully concentrated on catching a fish. Right? Is that concentration? It is concentration. It is a concentration. Right? But it's not Sammā Samādhi. It could be a Samadhi, but it's not Sammā Samādhi. Because Sammā Samādhi is attainable through kusala ways. If you don't create a kusala, whatever the concentration that arises with that is not going to be Sammā Samādhi. Why? Because Buddha knows that Samadhi was a very popular practice. Very popular practice. Why he incorporated Samadhi into the Noble Eightfold Path? What could be the reason? Did he simply want the Hindu yogic type of Samadhi to be a part of the Noble Eightfold Path, or did he want something else? What is it? Wrong mindfulness was what we discussed last Monday. Now, because of the right mindfulness, somebody attains Sammā Samādhi. But why did the Buddha want to bring Samadhi as a practice? Why he did not mention Samadhi, but why he mentioned Sammā Samādhi? Which means he did not want practitioners to practice that Samadhi. He wanted practitioners to practice Sammā Samādhi. Because the Samadhi practice has a purpose. They are looking for the bliss, the mental bliss. That's it. So that kind of a samadhi will not take you to the wisdom. It will only take you to get ended up in the bliss. That is what other contemporary practices, what you call ancient contemporary practices, focus on. So he simply wanted to tell people that it is not samadhi that you have to practice, it is Sammā Samādhi that everyone has to practice. In order to understand this kind of complicated structure, I want you to think about this particular word, ekaggata. Ekaggata. Ekaggata simply means that you unify your mind onto a certain object. Right? There are different translations. Some are bad translations. One-pointedness, unification of the mind. Right? Now, when you explore this Pali word called ekaggata, then samadhi, Sammā Samādhi, what are the other similar words going around this idea, concentration? Ekaggata, samadhi, right here. Ekaggata, samadhi, then Micchā Samādhi, Sammā Samādhi. Are there any other words that we can think about in this context? Jhana. Jhana is a practice that somebody uses to come to samadhi. It is the function, not the result. So ekaggata, if you explore the word ekaggata, you would find in the Abhidhamma, we sometimes have to pick up some of the words. In Abhidhamma it says ekaggata is one of the universal mental states. That means regardless of you are doing a bad akusala or kusala, you have ekaggata. It is present in all your mental states. Right? Even in the case of a cat or a soldier or a heron or any other activity, a criminal, drug cartel, whoever, good person, they all have ekaggata. But what differs that ekaggata into a specific format is that Micchā is the wrong version, Sammā is the right version. So do not confuse ekaggata with samadhi. Right? Next time, if you were given a chance to differentiate these two words, you could say ekaggata is a universal mental state. That means it appears in all our minds. Even now it appears. You don't need extra effort to have ekaggata. We have ekaggata now. Right? But Micchā Samādhi is the akusala version of that ekaggata, and Sammā Samādhi is the kusala version. I'm not going to read all these notes. You can read later. I'm trying to point out the most important aspects. So now here, this is interesting. I would say, okay, samadhi. Where do we see samadhi in other places? Now we know in the Noble Eightfold Path, the Sammā Samādhi is the purpose of samadhiti. It's the expectation of the samadhiti. Now if you going to cherry pick, strip out the rest of the path factors, and if you directly go into Sammā Sati or Sammā Samādhi, your practice does not flow as how the Buddha expected. Because if you take Sammā Sati or Sammā Samādhi as standalone practices, you are not doing it as it was expected or they were expected with the Samādhiti. Samādhiti is the most important. That is the expectation, actually. That is our direction. Samādhiti is the direction. Sammadittim pubbangamo hoti. The Buddha has said in many places. So the ultimatum of the Sammadhi is that you are tapping onto the Sammā Samādhi. Now you might be puzzled. Where is Panya? Do I need to wish for some Panya? No. Whenever you are into Sammā Samādhi, wisdom naturally arises. From Sammā Samādhi, wisdom swells out. Right? Wisdom is the immediate result of the perfect completion of the Sammā Samādhi. The Vipassana schools, Samatha schools, they have different thoughts, but generally the Noble Eightfold Path is what we need to understand. In addition to these schools, because we are studying early suttas in their own context. Where does Samadhi fit in the practice of Buddhism? Now, then again, I have to go back to our contextual point of view about the Noble Eightfold Path, and I know that you know that I mentioned to you that this Noble Eightfold Path is treated under the Panya, Samadhi, Sila practice. We call them as aggregates. Where it was given, Chula. Which sutta mentions about the connection of Noble Eightfold Path to the Panya Sila Samadhi or Panya Samadhi Sila practice? Chula Vedala Sutta. In that sutta, it clearly says Noble Eightfold Path is included in your own way, Sila Samadhi, Panya practice. In our way, Panya, Sila, Samadhi, Panya practice. Right? So there you see Samadhi. Samadhi as a neutrally, I would say, ethically neutral term. Why is it? Because it can carry Miccha or it can carry Sammā. So whenever you see Samadhi in any place in the Buddhist text, you have to take it as Sammā Samadhi. There are different types of places where you see Samadhi. What are the other places? In the Bojjhangas. Sati, Viriya, Dhamma, Vichaya, Passati, Samadhi, Upekka. But then again, Upekka, we have to talk about it. Upekka, Samadhi. And then Sila, Samadhi, Panya practice. But we call it basic Panya. Because why do we say that we need some basic wisdom to start off this practice? If not, you are practicing without understanding the purpose. Say for instance, in the Noble Eightfold Path, you start with right view and right intention or thought. Are they part of the Sila? Are they part of the Sila or are they part of the Samadhi? Are they part of the Panya? They are part of Panya. If you go directly to the Sila without knowing why do I practice Sila, then you will end up with Silabbata Paramasa. Your Sila has a purpose. Your purpose is to get onto the Samadhi. Otherwise, you simply avoid different precepts. The Buddhist Sila is practicing Sila by understanding why do I practice Sila? Why do I consistently avoid and maintain or deepen different things? So we need a certain level of Panya. It might not be that lofty Panya, higher one, which you will come at the service of Sammadhi. I would say at the level of the completion of the Sammā Samādhi. It is the highest. But here you may need a slight, I would say, kind of a minimal version of wisdom, so that you know why do I get onto this practice? Why do I this thing? So I would call it Panya. So you start the practice with some Panya. Then you go to Sila. then Samadhi and Panya. Panya naturally arises. Though I say this is kind of a gradual order, but when you are practicing at a certain point, this could be a simultaneous practice. You practice together. It's not like this week I'm practicing a slight level of Panya, and then I go to Sila in the next couple of weeks. It's not like that. Maybe you start off that way, but once you are really good with this understanding, you practice them together. Once again, I wanted to mention that our rubric here, every path factor has to be practiced along with other 3 path factors. What are they? Right view is the first one, right effort is the second, and right mindfulness is the third. That means even for right concentration, you have to utilize these 3. How do we use them? Right concentration. You need to have right view, this consistent right view. What can you do with the right view? For Sammā Samādhi. How does Samādhi help you to practice Sammā Samādhi? First, you need to know what is Sammā Samādhi. How do I differentiate Sammā Samādhi from Micchā Samādhi? How do I differentiate Micchā Samādhi from Sammā Samādhi? This discrimination, bad translation, differentiation can really be helpful for you to, in the first place to separate out. The akusala version of the ekaggata and kusala version of the ekaggata. Then, is it enough? Is it sufficient? It might not be. Why? Just because you know, but because you don't have enough effort, can you continue with the practice? You are not able to do it. Sometimes you know that this is bad, but you still get driven by the akusala states of mind. Why is it? There is a reason which was given in another sutta, Sabbāsava Sutta. In the Sabbāsava Sutta, which is Sutta 2, we call it Majjhima Nikāya Sutta 2, there Buddha says, Jānatova Passatova Āsavānaṁ Khayaṁ vadāmi. The elimination of the asavas should be done along with both Jānato aspect or Jānato method and Passato method. Now you know that this is bad. Bad mouthing about somebody is bad, talking bad, gossiping is bad. But whenever the circumstances arise, you get driven by those circumstances. Why? You don't see it at the time of the gossips, at the time of the conditions. Interesting, right? That's why just because we know, it is not sufficient in order for us not to do akusala. Maybe in order for us to do kusala also. Sometimes you know this is good, but you can't do it. You are not surrounded by kalyana mittas. You are not surrounded by good mindset. You are in a akusala place. You are in a place of lot of temptations, and temptations take you over. Yeah, see? In your owners, maras are waiting, different maras, 10 armies of maras. That is why we need a certain good level of Sammā Vāyāmo. We need Sammā Vāyāmo. What is Sammā Vāyāmo? Right effort. Yeah, how do we, it's a translation, but how do we do it? Now I'll be asking these questions next Monday. Be prepared for that. Now I told you a way to think about, to do. 4 steps. In short, removing active akusala states of the mind. They are active, you are going to remove. Well, let's say, start from the first. Preventing inactive akusala states of the mind. You are good, you are preventing them. Prevention is always better. Sadly, unfortunately, if you now struggling, at that point, removing active akusala states of the mind. You are going to put effort to these 2 aspects for akusala states of the mind. And then, good side, we call it creating kusala states of mind, and maintaining or deepening kusala states of mind. Creating non-active or inactive kusala states of the mind. Let's say I don't have enough, I would say, patience to certain things. Maybe I would say other good things. So I see that other people have. I feel by myself that I need to work on it. At that point, you are creating what you call inactive. They are not active within you. Inactive kusala state. You need to put right effort onto that. Now you already have certain good kusala states of mind. So then you are going to deepen, maintain, sustain those active kusala states of mind. Now this is right effort. Now when you say right effort, does right effort reflect upon these 4 aspects? I don't think so. Effort is an English term. Right? Especially in the West, they think that effort is not that much, I would say, praise, because in the West, hardworking mentality, you need energy, you have to hard work, That's why right effort is not just a hardworking aspect. I said to you that. It could be an effortless right effort. Effortless effort, because it's not about how much you put into the practice. It is about the quality, not a quantification. It's a quality of your effort about akusala side and the kusala side. Now you need that here. For what? To probably to remove miccha samadhi. Probably to prevent any miccha samadhi coming after you. Probably to create more conditions for Sammā Samādhi. Also probably to maintain your existing Sammā Samādhi. You need that. Just because you have right view to understand what is Sammā Samādhi from miccha samadhi or vice versa, and supported by right effort, now are you safe in your practice to continue your Sammā Samādhi? You might not be. That means you need Sammā Sati. Why? How do you know that where you are going to be practicing this Sammā Samādhi in particular? How do you get up with a good understanding about certain circumstances? Right? Maybe you are practicing meditation, Sammā Samādhi. At that point, your mind might be wandering here and there, drifting away. So how do you understand these particular moments of those practices, certain things regarding the Sammā Samādhi? It is by Sammā Sati. So Sammā Ditti, Sammā Vayamo, Sammā Sati, they are all pervading, integrated practices. You can't separate them out. But some people do. Lack of understanding about the early suttas. And then, now let's get into this, I would say. Jhanas. Now, why are jhanas related to this discussion? It is because when Buddha was talking about Sammā Samādhi, he used the first 4 jhanas regarding the Sammā Samādhi practice. Let's take a look. It's over here. Katama Chauso Sammā Samādhi. Now this sutta was given by Arahant Sariputta as a continuation of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta's inadequate explanations about these 4 noble truths. Idhavaso bhikkhu viviccheva kamehi viviccha akusalehi Dhammehi savitakkang savicharam vivekajam pitisukang patamajjanam upasampajja viharati. Now, this is about the first jhana. How do you get the first jhana? Viviccheva kamehi. So you are going to remove karmas, at least for a certain period of time, and also akusalas. Now, when we discuss this area of the Sammā Samādhi, you might think about samatha practices, samatha meditation, samatha bhavana people, right? Now in samatha meditation, which is a pre-Buddhist practice, they are directly getting onto this practice without practicing Sammadhi, Sankappa, Vacha, and none of these things were not practiced by them. So they directly get into this Samadhi practice. That is why Buddha called it as Miccha Samadhi. Their purpose and the purpose with these particular jhanas in this context, they are different. Because here somebody picks up these jhanas with the purpose of attaining Nibbana. But their purpose is just to get up to the mental bliss. That bliss will expire. Right? It's not guaranteed. But still it's good at that time. But as the Noble Eightfold Path teaches us, we need to focus on the wisdom, Nibbana perspective, even with the jhanas. Now the idea is burning up defilements. But jhanas can give us a very misdirection if we do not know what jhanas, how jhanas should be practiced, right? So there are 4 jhanas initially. The Buddha says 4 jhanas should be practiced in order to get up to Sammā Samādhi, but with the purpose of, or at the service of Samādhi. You are practicing jhanas or samatha with the purpose of achieving what the Samādhi wants. Not just directly goes, I want Samadhi. This is what many people do in today's world. Samadhi. It's not what the Buddha said. You are going to practice jhanas, of course, samatha, true samatha, by fulfilling the purpose of the Samādhi. Right? So there are 4 basic jhanas. Here I have noted. These 4 jhanas actually teach us how can our mind be calm. Right? There are 4 jhana factors, which means that you are dealing with these 5 jhana factors in your samatha meditation. We call them vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, and then ekaggata. But more subtle other mental states will be coming up as you proceed. What is vitakka? Clarity. You might call it an object. We call it clarity. Vichara, the purpose of vichara is to get up to the lucidity of the mind. Piti, these are actually physical, I would say emotional parts of your progress of the samatha meditation. Piti means there are different translations, rapture, right? Joy and all that. Sukha means happiness. As you proceed, you will understand these are also problems for my meditation. I feel happy, overjoyed about my happiness. When you meditate, you feel like I'm so happy. So then you can't meditate. Your mind is disturbed. Right? And then finally, ekaggata. This mental state was already explained to you. Right? It can carry both. Not even that. Ekaggata also will be withdrawn at a certain place of your samatha meditation. At that point, what will happen to you is that through the support of upekkha, you will come to a very pure level of mindfulness. Right? This is what we understand. We have a Pali word for that. Upekkha sati parisuddhi. Which means you will have this purified version of mindfulness through upekkha. Easier than said, huh? I'm not going to discuss all these. Maybe this could be too much Pali terms. You can read slowly, right? Take your time to read. I'm trying to tell you the overall practice of Samadhi. We call it Sammā Samādhi. So now you know in the Buddhist teachings, we have the practice of Sammā Samādhi. It is not Samādhi. So every time, although there is the mere word called Samādhi, what is implied with that Samādhi is Sammā Samādhi. It's not Samādhi, right? It is called Sammā Samādhi. It is implied. It is not given with words, right? Sometimes there are a lot of words, a lot of things that we need to understand by implied sense, right? One good example is why Suramerya is not a part of the practice. Why is it? Suramerya, not taking any intoxicants so that your mind will be clouded. This part was not, why it was not given as a specific practice in the Noble Eightfold Path? Because when you say right mindfulness, it is implied. You can't cloud your mind. You can't disturb your mind. It is not only alcohol, right? It is many things. There are many versions of clouding the mind. All right, so Sammā Samādhi, the Pali word called Ekaggata, is the minimal version of this concentration. Minimal, I would say. It could go in a wrong direction, or it could go in a right direction. So we call it Micchā Samādhi is the wrong direction, and Sammā Samādhi is the right direction. Any questions, brother? Anything that you want to know? I will give you the link. Don't worry. It's just a link. Yeah, I'll give it to you. Are you part of our WhatsApp group? Okay, glad. Yeah, don't worry. So, having said that, I wanted to say that Ekaggata is a very neutral word, which is a very minimal version of your concentration. But when you have Micchā Samādhi, we call it the wrong side of the Ekaggata. And then Sammā Samādhi means the right side of the Ekaggata. So when a practitioner comes to this stage, what is happening is that with Samādhitti, Sammā Saṅkappa, Sammā Vāca, Sammā Kammanta, Sammā Vāyāma, Sammā Sati, this person is looking for the perfect Samādhi. It is not the Samādhi that somebody will attain without the purpose of Samādhitti, right? You are fulfilling Samādhitti with the Sammā Samādhi. If you go to the Mahācattarisaka Sutta, you will see how it was given. Let's go there. Mahācattarisaka Sutta, a very detailed, analytical, synthetical sutta about the Noble Eightfold Path. See that. Now you know that the sutta is about the Noble Eightfold Path, but see how the abstract was given. The Blessed One, the Buddha said, "Monks, I will teach you the noble right concentration with its supports, requisite conditions." He does not say, he is saying Noble Eightfold. He says, I'm going to teach you the noble right concentration. I'm going to teach you Sammā Samādhi. In that conversation, there comes the rest of the 7 Noble Path factors. You see that? See, of those, right view is the forerunner. See, all the things are coming out, which means in an effort to talk about the Sammā Samādhi, the Buddha talks about the rest of the factors. But as you can see, in this Sammā Samādhi practice, right view is the starting point. Without the right view's purpose, you are not going to practice it. Do not try to pick on certain path factors and then try to practice it. Practice it in the suggested, prescribed way by the Buddha. You might find certain path factors seem very daunting and seem very interesting. Just because of that, don't pick out this and that. Practice together. Practice in a gradual order, then practice together. And then you will be there. Alright. Here. Why do we need to practice Sammā Samādhi? The reason is this is the only path to attain Nibbana. Right? There's no other issues with that. Is Sammā Samādhi practice intertwined with other practices? Yes, these are interesting dimensions. The dimension intersection between Samādhi and Upekkha, Samādhi and Paññā, and this, with the word Vipassana too. Now, when you see the popular use of Samatha and Vipassana, you might see that these two practices can be disintegrated. Can we separate them out in our right mindfulness practice? Can you separate out Samatha and Vipassana in your right mindfulness? Right mindfulness is your main practice about Sati. Within that practice, you think about Samatha and Vipassana. So can you separate them out? You can't. Because the purpose of right mindfulness is to attain calmness. The purpose of right mindfulness is also to attain Vipassana. You can't separate them out. You can't call it Samatha people, Vipassana people. Though these are very late additions of the traditions. Why do I say that Samatha and Vipassana were given together in the right mindfulness practice? I shared with you last Friday. Why is it? At the end of each Satipatthana practices, you practice Satipatthana to attain Sammā Sati, right? There are 23 main Satipatthana practices under Kayanupassana, Vedanupassana, Chittanupassana and Dhammanupassana. At the end of each Satipatthana practices, Buddha informs us two things. One is the Samādhi. The first one is the Samādhi. How do we know it? Ātāpi sampajāno satimā vinaya loke. Right? And then the second is ajjattangva bahiddāva, ajjatta bahiddāva. Then samudaya and Vayadhamma perspective. So this is Vipassana perspective of that particular Satipatthana practice. And the earlier one, Ātāpi Sampajāno, is the Samādhi practice. That means when you learn each Satipatthana and practice each Satipatthana, let's say you pick up one Satipatthana, Kayanupassana, and then you practice Anapanasati, breathing meditation. Then you are trying to attain some level of Samādhi with that practice, that daily practice. Then you feel that you have some level of Samādhi. But not those little glimpses, you see, today I am much more concentrated. Not those ones. Don't get deluded by them. But at the same time, you get to see that I can see more clearly. I can see clearer stuff. I can see things in a better way. So your attitude, your way of looking things also getting improved. That means this is a complementary, I would say it's a combined practice. You can't separate them out. But if you take Samatha differently, Vipassana differently, then you are going to forget about that bigger, larger, bigger, broader perspective of Sammā Sati. Right? So, Samādhi and Upekkha. What is the connection over here? Now, Samatha Vipassana, we cannot disintegrate. Although people disintegrate. You cannot, if you know the Satipatthanas. Samādhi and Upekkha, where do we see this? In the 7 Bojjhangas. Sati, Dhammavicaya, Viriya, Pīti, Passaddi, Samādhi, Upekkha. That means when you have this, what you call Sammā Samādhi, the enlightening factors, then what will happen? Your mind is mounted on the perfect equanimity. Upekkha is a very multifaceted term in the Pali. How many upekkhas do we have? There are many upekkhas we have. We have one very primary upekha that we know in the Brahma Viharas. We call it Brahma Vihara upekha. Metta, Karuna, Mudita upekha. Right? That is upekha as a Brahma Vihara. Then there is another one called Sankhara upekha. You are looking at the conditioned things. Conditioned things with upekha. Another upekha. And you see, go to the Abhidhamma, there is another upekha. Under the thoughts. Somanassa thoughts, Domanassa thoughts, upekha thoughts. Happy thoughts, unhappy thoughts, and neutral thoughts. Does that upekha thought relate to the lofty upekha that we know in the other places Dhamma? No, they are different. It means just a neutral one. So here upekha means your mind becomes perfectly mounted on this equanimity. It's very important. It's not on the happiness. It's not on the unhappiness. It's on upekha. So there are a lot of what you call interconnections with Samadhi, but what we should understand overall is Sammā Samadhi is the purpose of the Noble Eightfold Path by fulfilling the perspective of the Samādhi. This is what we have to understand. Other small things need to be understood in their own context, right? So what do we need? What do we need actually in large ways at these sections? We need some level of Pali. Without knowing some level of Pali, you might mess up in your practice. Translations can be not always giving you a good time in your reading. They are good, they are supportive, but you need to know a little bit of, at least a little bit of Pali in the context. Not the Pali grammar a lot, at least some level of working knowledge of Pali in order to understand different context of the things. Okay, summary. Sammā Samādhi is the final cultivation of the Noble Eightfold Path. If you want to come to that stage, Sammā Samādhi, you must start your cultivation of Samādhi to Sammā Sati. So the preceding 7 factors, they are mandatory. That means do not look for Samadhi, Sammā Samādhi without the rest of the 7. Right? If anybody teaches you that way, it is going to be not the way that how the Buddha said. Right? If someone ignores the first 7 path fact 1 to 7, Samādhi to Sammā Sati in the Noble Eightfold Path, and directly goes to Sati and then Samādhi, that will be a Micchā Samādhi, and it will only lead to Samādhi, I would say Micchā Samādhi. Why is it? In that Samādhi practice, in that Sati practice, there is no association to Samādhi. Right? That is why I always say this is not a sitting practice. Noble Eightfold Path and the Satipatthanas, everything, they are not fully a sitting practice. Sitting can be helpful to you, but this practice is an overall practice. You may, when you talk, you have to practice certain things. When you think about certain things in your life, you have to. When you are making a living out of your different occupations, there's a certain role that come into play with your practice. It is an overall, very all-pervading practice. Right? This is the purpose of doing this Sutta study in this way. Otherwise, you might think, Dhamma Cakkappavattana is just a translation, right? Hindu people practice Samadhi just to be happy, blissful. Like some Westerners, some Westerners. Maybe some of you. Just to be happy. Yesterday I practiced 20 minutes of Samatha. Yes, what's the problem with the time, If you were concentrated, that's enough, The Buddha says that it is dangerous to practice only Sati or Samadhi without the rest of, because any time you will expire from such Samadhi. I wanted to bring another textual point here. Where is it mentioned? Ratana Sutta. Let's go to Ratana Sutta. Do you find any samadhi over there? Yam buddha sento parivannaye suching samadhimanang tarikanyamahu samadhina tena samona vijjati. Samadhi. What does it mean? Yam buddha setto parivannaye suching samadhimanang. The samadhi, Sammā Samādhi, which was expounded by the Buddha, is not terminal. It's not terminal samadhi. Terminal mean any samadhi that is going to be terminated at the service of any other issue, not going to be Sammā Samādhi. So those samadhis, concentrations are not on a par equal to Sammā Samādhi. What are those samadhis? Rupavachara samadhis, arupavachara samadhis. Like you practice jhana to attain rupavachara samadhi, but if you don't have the purpose of why you're practicing rupavachara jhanas, your rupavachara practice will be terminal. It's not, I would say, interrupted. So the Buddha samadhi is uninterrupted samadhi. Let's go to Ratana Sutta and see it. Here, yes, come. Samadhi manantari kanyamausi. That pure concentration, the Supreme Buddha praise, is described as concentration without interruption. That means all the other concentrations are interrupted at the expense of other people's temptations or your own temptations and all that. Samadhina tena samona vijjati. There is nothing like that concentration. This is the concentration that we discuss under the Noble Eightfold Path. Interesting. Huh? So the examples are in your own chanting book. Right? The examples of the samadhi, they are given in your own chanting. But why can't you get a clear knowledge about it? Because you don't pay attention to that. You just think that just listening to a blessing is okay. Very lazy people, in a way. Yeah. Come on up and learn. And then you will find out your answers are in the chanting. The answers that you are looking for by spending hour and a half here, 8:30 to 10, they are here in the chanting book. They are not anywhere. They are not in the library. Right? That is a good evidence about Sammā Samādhi. Therefore, the Buddhist way to practice Sammā Samādhi must start from Samādhiti and then cultivate all the preceding path factors and finally come to Sammā Samādhi. Practicing all day long, all night long, all day long, all night long. Not 8 to 4 in a retreat, maybe 2 weeks or 1 month and then finish. I'm a good person. Maybe I attain some Samadhi. It is not going to work. Right? But still that attempt is appreciated. You know, something is better than nothing, but that will not take you to this precious practice, you know. I would say Sammā Samādhi practice is like a lifelong pension, you know, like what will happen to us is that when you get to real Sammā Samādhi practice, then you are not encouraging the sensory world, you know how you're going to deal with the sensory world, especially the temptations, I would say sight, sounds, smell, taste, touch and thoughts. You know that there's a certain mechanism. There is an example given by the Buddha. The example was that there are a couple of ponds on a mountain where you don't see some rivers flowing in and out, but the water is very crystal clear, turquoise, and there's water always over there. How come there is water? There are no rivers by which the water is coming down to the ponds. It is because Water is bubbling out of the earth. There is water, right? It's a spring. It's a spring. So in the same way, when you practice Sammā Samādhi to that level, that means you are like that. Rivers are sensory perception, sensual things, sensory things. They are coming in and out, and you get disturbed. That's why I call it, it's a lifelong pension. So you can keep your mind very serene, calm, and then you might not be disturbed by things probably, and you are looking for, when you are looking for certain things, gratification, then you will have to search the world, you have to look for the world. It'll cost you a lot. Maybe you are a retired person, but it still cost you. The Buddha said, be like those ponds on a mountain where nobody can go, rivers even can't go, but still water is bubbling out of the earth. That serenity, tranquility is what he asks us to think about, consider. Panya arises from the successful cultivation of Sammā Samādhi. The successful cultivation of Sammā Samādhi will happen if you do it from the beginning of the Noble Eightfold Path. I think I already mentioned. Okay, I pointed out 2 questions. I think you may have more questions, just to get some more insights. By practicing metta, can we attain Sammā Samādhi? Interesting question, because you know metta practice is very popular, right? Is it possible? Huh? Can we get up to Sammā Samādhi? Huh? Yes. How? As no, as yes. Should have some reasons, valid reasons. Why is it? There is a sutta called Attakanagara Sutta. Call it. In this sutta, don't worry, I have mentioned the sutta's name here and the link. You can become an anagami by practicing Brahma Viharas, but with impermanence, and be reborn in one of the pure lands. Why I call pure lands? Some people might be confused. What do you call pure lands? Theravada, we have early suttas say there are 5 pure lands. The Mahayana version has 1 pure land where the Dhyani Buddha is living. So here we have 5 Suddhavasas, we call them pure lands. So if somebody practices Brahma Viharas, Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka, with some elements of anicca, there is a possibility for that person to be reborn in the pure lands and then become an arahant over there. That means metta can also be a good practice, in case you haven't known that way so far. Let's go to the sutta. Attakanagara. Let me sort of zoom out. Okay, probably here. Oh, is that? Okay. There is the case householder where a monk or whoever withdrawn from sensuality, withdrawn from unskillful, the same Sammā Samādhi, yeah? Sammā Samādhi practice. He reflects on this and discerns the first jhana is fabricated and intended and all that. Okay, this is one way of being reborn in the pure lands. Keep going down. Here. Another way. Then again, a monk, a practitioner keeps pervading the first direction with an awareness imbued with goodwill, means metta. Likewise, the second, third, fourth. Thus above, below, all around, everywhere, in its entirety. She keeps pervading the all-encompassing cosmos with an awareness imbued with metta, abundant, expansive, immeasurable, without hostility, without ill will. He reflects on this and discerns. This awareness release, true metta, is fabricated and intended. Now, whatever is fabricated and intended is inconstant and subject to cessation. Staying right there, he reaches the ending of the sankharas. Or if not, even though this very Dhamma passion, this Dhamma delight, and from the total wasting away of the first 5 fetters, he or she is due to be reborn in the Suddhavasas. That means even your samatha practice will be can be gone to the metta. Thereby, you will be reborn, you may be reborn in the Suddhavasas. This is another way somebody can think about Nibbana. Right? Satipatthana is the main way, but there are other ways. So the answer to this question is that by practicing metta, can we attain Samma Samadhi? Yes. Yes. The example is Attaka Nagara Sutta. So please give a read to that sutta. Final question here. How can I know whether my Samadhi is Samma Samadhi or Miccha Samadhi? General Samadhi. This was a question asked by somebody, so put it same way. How do we know? If you only focus on the happiness of your jhana in your samadhi practice, then that is Miccha Samadhi. A very clear answer. If you only think that I want to get jhanas, then it is Miccha Samadhi. But if you practice samatha as a consequence, as an intensification of the rest of the 7 path factors, because you want to practice samatha or jhanas in fulfilling the purpose of the Sammadhi and the rest of the path factors, then it is Samma Samadhi. So I would define Miccha Samadhi, once again, a little bit clear terms, as jhanas practiced with the wrong view. Jhanas must be practiced with the right view, Sammadhi. So if you are asked by somebody to practice jhana, that is not a good motivation to do. Not a good start, because jhanas practice should be practiced with the right view. Then you are not going back to the Hindu yogi way of practicing jhanas. So we have a clear difference between those two. Basically, this means states of jhana or deep meditation attained by those usually of other paths who don't have an understanding of the Four Noble Truths. What do you think about those yogis, people who practice samatha at that time? Did they really want to practice jhana to understand the Four Noble Truths? It didn't seem so. They simply practice just to maybe to avoid the sensory world, maybe to go to the depth of their happiness of the mind. Actually, it is also a survey, also a search, finding some bliss in your mind. Now, this is kind of a little dangerous. Let's say a lot of people are going through dealing with difficulties in their sensory world because of lust, because of hatred, because of delusion. But there may be 10 people, suppose it's not a good number, 10 people who might think, no, I'm not going to focus on the sensory world. I am going to focus on the utmost happiness of my mind. Then that will also become another way of searching true. The Buddha said, it might be better than the rest, but still you are not on the right path. So you can actually get off from that path and then look at and then to practice Samma Samadhi. Samma Samadhi is only to help you rise wisdom. Wisdom arises naturally at the service of Samadhi in your Samadhi practice. Then everything else happens. You have a question? Maybe our friend will give you the mic so others can hear too, okay. Oh, you brought a mic. Okay. There's a button at the yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Hello?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I come over some yogi practice, Sahaja Yoga. That one, if you practice it will balance your mind. It- so I want to ask, is that um, the good practice, or is what Reverend say is a Macha Samadhi?
It may
things?
be a good practice, but it is not the practice that the Buddha asks us to practice with Samadhi. There are a lot of good practices. Samatha is a good practice, but it is not what the Buddha asks us to practice in that particular way. We are practicing Samatha in a way because we practice Samatha in order to understand the Four Noble Truths, supported by the Sammadhi's perspective.
So
Yeah.
hello.
Okay.
So the practice is not encouraged to do, or is okay for Buddhists to do that?
I think you better look at this aspect, the way how the Buddha discuss about Sammā Samadhi. There are many other people who are encouraging, who are teaching different ways of Samadhi. They are not Sammā Samadhi, right? They are Miccha to the practice here, but they are good in their own ways, right? So Sammā Samadhi means whatever a jhana practice, whatever a samatha practice going to be practiced by others, they practice them with a view to understanding the Four Noble Truths. Does the Sahaja practice say that we have a purpose in understanding Four Noble Truths? This is a different practice. So I mean, it may be good, but if you look at this perspective aspect, it's different. There may be good practices. Yeah.
I find like some meditation class, they also do something like this.
Yeah.
It's for you to have a deep mind, and you'll be very mindfulness, but you have to like what Raven say, like 2 hours, 3 hours, then you
We're not looking for a deep mind. We're looking for a deep concentration. We need the deep concentration. So if we go this way, we will have to go one by one of all these practices taught by many people in the East and the West. We're not going to do that because it might be a little bit disrespectful to them. What I'm telling you, what I'm encouraging you to think is that the way how the Buddha asks us to practice, then the rest is implied. You call it whatever. The way. So, sorry? Yeah, so you better understand how the Buddha gave this. So the rest is already implied. Then you will think about how other practices are being given by others. And if you go for a yoga class, they have a different emphasis. If you go for a general meditation class, they have a different emphasis, right? So we have to understand them differently. But if they say that we are teaching Buddhist meditation without teaching this way, that is a problem. If they say, I'm going to teach you mindfulness meditation, okay, let's go for it. Non-judgmental, full awareness by staying in the right moment. It's okay. That's a therapeutic approach. But if they say, no, I'm also teaching you the Buddhist meditation, concerning. This is the way. Misunderstanding, misteaching. You have a question, brother? Yeah. Want to pass the mic? Oh, there's a mic here. Yeah. Maybe you keep pressing. Okay.
What I'm trying to ask is actually, I did expose to Hinduism and other religions, right? The way I understand from what you're trying to picture is actually Buddhism wants us to look things holistically. Okay, like yoga, yes, there is a balance of mind. There is only for that segment. Just like in societies, right? You are hungry or you're born with hunger, right? The environment, if you all of a sudden there's food coming in and they are blessed, so they concentrate on the particular thing. Some people will look for that the balance of basically their health, you know.
Energy, chakra.
Yeah, the chakra and all those kind of things. So I believe their process is only very specific for that kind of a treatment. I would say a therapeutic treatments. Where you are hungry, you need food to eat, or you are sick, you need medications. You see. But I believe, I understand for Buddhism studying is, he asks us to look things holistically. That means it's not, you understand the Four Noble Truths, right? Which is understand life, old age, sickness, and death, right? Then you understand the whole full cycle. What is the meaning of this Sammā?
Sammā,
Samādhi.
Samādhi. Yeah.
I think we have to view from that angle. Thank you.
I have no concern about anybody who says that we have a Samadhi practice and we're going to teach you. It's okay. And we have a meditation practice, mindfulness meditation practice. It's okay. But if they promote Buddhist meditation in whatever the combined way that they think, without telling this profound perspective, I think they're going to do a serious harm, danger. They are misleading people. Now, the idea is that mindfulness meditation and the satipatthanas can be leveraged, I would say, can be considered as being similar. There will be a serious mistake because they are two different perspectives. One is basically on the therapeutic aspect. The one is about skillful, and then Nibbanic perspective. But the Nibbanic perspective is the ultimatum. Although it is the ultimatum, you can still teach Buddhist meditation in the proper way, like this way. And there's something that all of us can do, right? So we have to teach them in the proper way.
But the society's human beings, right? You know, they are not patient enough to reach to the Nibbana state. So wherever it comes, right, is a motivation for them to go another level. Sometimes it's necessary to go through the process of gaining this benefit through this practice, and from there you build up to the ultimate goal, you see. So it depends on how society observes. Like in Africa, right, the environment is different. In America, the environment is different. So it also have to be very contextual how we practice Buddhism. That's why I look at it, I say.
Yeah, so everybody is fascinated by the different styles, meditation styles and yoga things. It's okay. But the problem is we have to present the Buddhist meditation in this way as a part of the Noble Eightfold Path, not as a standalone practice. If you teach it as a standalone practice, it's a mistake. And on the other hand, although the purpose of the Buddhist meditation is to attain Nibbana, everything before Nibbana is very practical. They are not, very difficult to even think about. Say, for instance, Samādhi. If I do not make up my mind, especially as an attitude, as a way of looking at things and other people, and Sammā Sankappa, my own thoughts, my own speech, Sammā Vāca, my own actions, Sammā Kammanta. Sammā Ājiva means my way of living without cheating on other people, without misleading other people. I think they are very common things, common ethical things that we all can practice, even before Nibbana. If somebody thinks that if we present this way as the Nibbana, could be the Nibbana is the ultimatum, people might not like it. Actually, we can teach it. We can teach Buddhist meditation before Nibbana. There are a lot of things that people can practice before Nibbana, right? Unless those people who want to go on a joy ride in one day or maybe 2 weeks of retreat, hey, I'm going to attain this and that. Right? It's too quick. Yes. I think still what I say is that for those people, they should reconsider understanding the larger, broader context of Buddhist meditation here, rather than picking up from these scattered, small pocket places of meditation and then teach as the Buddhist meditation. I think that's kind of a very serious issue in the long. Especially they misteach the Satipatthana Sutta too, because they take Satipatthana Sutta as a standalone sutta. They don't know where Satipatthana Sutta belongs to. Satipatthana Sutta belongs to the Noble Eightfold Path. That's the problem that a lot of people, they misunderstand. If you go for many teachers, you would understand Satipatthana Sutta has been taught by many as a standalone practice. It is not. As you can see, Sammā Sati has to be brought to Samādhi. Sammā Sati should be brought to Sammā Sankappa. So then, that means each of the Noble Path factors should be taught together, practiced together all night long, all day long. That is the practice. So we wanted to tell them this is the framework, this is the launch pad, this is how we're going to navigate our path, right? And that they will understand. There are a lot of things we can do before Nibbana, right? But the unfortunate thing is that those people who teach only Satipatthana Sutta as the way to Nibbana, they say only practicing that kind of a sitting meditation will help you to attain Nibbana, which is a pretty bad mistake. Why is it? Sammā Sati has to be brought to all the other Noble Path factors. Because when you practice meditation, you are in the comfort zone. That means you are good. You are good. You know that you are going to meditation. You have less lobha, less hatred, less moha. So what is with that practice? You can do that. You should do that too. Because even in the comfort zone, even in the non-comfort zone. Non-comfort zone is the time that you will have to deal with a lot of problems. Lobha, dosa, moha, arguments, criticisms, compliments. That is the field where you're going to use the Noble Eightfold Path. The reason is that most of the Noble Path factors should be applied to those places, your real life, right? When you step out of the comfort zone, you see that it is not that particular Sammā Sati, it is the overall Noble Eightfold Path that will help you to get out of those situations and become a better person, even before Nibbana, and becoming an Arahant one day, at least. Yes?
So I guess it's something like a student's, right? It's a learning assumptions, and from assumptions you get rupture. I give examples. I used to be a teacher in a college in American universities. You see, when children are young, right, they learn addition, multiplication, subtraction, and then they go to the next level, algebra. Algebra, then they go to calculus. Calculus, they go this kind of quantum mechanics, and then later to this the Einstein theories and all those things. I think the societies, you have to go through that process. It's not from suddenly can jump to Sammā Samādhi. They have to go through that basic foundations. So I believe this yoga, all this different practice is actually the process. But unfortunately, when at this stage, they thought they are reaching to the Nirvana state. They think it's enough, kind of thing, you see. Yeah. So they fail to see the world is bigger than what they thought. I believe Buddhism, after been doing this practicing, understand, I think you have to look for bigger pictures.
Yeah.
I think this is the ultimate goal of what Buddha is trying to teach. Thank you.
You answered. Anybody else? We will give it to others too. But today is the last day of the Noble Path factors, and we are going into a review next Monday. We'll give the chance to others and then come back. Yeah.
Bhante, during this practice, we are facing so many challenges in the society, right? Because we learn here not to get angry, but when facing in the society, like some kind of challenges,
I think I taught you not to, I didn't teach you not to get angry. I said,
yeah.
whenever you are going through a bad emotion, try to understand that bad emotion. Right? Anger is natural.
Yeah,
It is
that's
not
what
bad. It may be bad
No,
the way how
but
you're going
it-
to work
it-
on it.
Yeah, but it
Understand
affects,
that emotion. Yeah. Mhm.
oh, means we can understand only ourselves, not the other person, right? But people are thinking like we are useless, not getting anger, no reaction, nothing, and forcing more words, like they are putting more words on us. In that case, like how to handle every time.
I think I shared with you a story some time ago, maybe at the beginning of this sutta study.
Actually, Bhante, this play, our BMV, is like kind of a comfort zone. But after going out,
That's what I told you. We have to bring Dhamma to the non-comfort zone. Comfort zone, you will practice whatever, even not even meditation. You will practice the head-on yoga, the Bhujanga yoga too. I mean, that is what I think. So what I basically telling is that what can we do when other people are picking on us? I think this is something that you are always bringing up
because daily I'm facing now.
at the end of this discussion. I think we need some smart.
Every time now I used to.
Yeah.
If I'm facing any problem, I used
Let
to.
me tell you the overall idea. I think I shared with you a story which was given probably in one of the Khuddaka Nikaya texts, Itivuttaka, I think. There was a cobra who thought that I would go take precepts from a tapasa, sage, near the river. There was a hermit who was practicing his own meditation and ascetic practices. So at that time they say that animals used to talk, right, in Jataka stories. We don't feel worried about the animals and all that. We have to take the larger broad idea. So he went in and they said to the tapasa, hermit, the ascetic, can you give me precepts? Especially 5 precepts. Then he said, no, I'm not going to give you because I know you are going to break them. So you can't keep your patience. Because the first one, you are going to break. Because you are a snake. He said, no, with great effort, I'm going to try. Then he kept asking from the hermit. He said, okay, I'm going to give it to you, but please pay attention to your precepts. It's a very, I would say, attentive process. You have to be very mindful about your precept. Then after getting the precepts from the hermit, the snake went somewhere. Unfortunately, once he got out of the hermitage, he got stuck into a firewood area. Somebody was making a firewood. He went inside, so he made the firewood. And then now he can't do anything, right? He was thinking, so painful. And then he managed to survive. And then he was brought into, in the form of a firewood stack, to the house. Somehow, maybe a farmer, he saw a tail of a snake. He was a little scared about that because he brought it from somewhere. And then he was trying to loosen up the firewood stack. He saw the snake. Then he's trying to do something to the snake. The snake didn't do anything. Very domestic. It looks like a very domesticated snake. And then he just went away. By the evening, the snake felt lots of pain because he was stuck into the firewood stack. And by the evening, snake thought I would go see the hermit. Because normally reporting what's happening with the sealer, like what you do in a retreat, right? At the end of the retreat, you are going to feedback about your practice. Maybe the teacher is asking you, how was your practice? How was your sealer? And then the hermit asks from afar, oh, hey, how's your sealer practice today? See what happened to me. See, so much pain. Then he asked, what went wrong with you? I was just going away. I was very harmless, but see, this person stuck me up into his firewood, brought me home, and I was so much having some excruciating pains. Then you know what the Tapasa hermit said? According to the precepts, you can't kill. But does it say, or did I say, that you can't show that you can bite, you can sting? That means when other people are trying to misbehave because of your compassion, loving kindness, whatever, there are times that you may have to stand on your feet, not to attack them, but to show you can attack them. Yes. But your mind is pure. You are not going to do that. Some animals do the same, right? Those chameleons, they are changing colors, they're showing different things, just to protect yourself in the good way. So when other people are misbehaving, they are trying to really going to hit on you in a bad way, you can show just to defend in a non-harming way, so that they are not going to cross the boundary. You are safe. Take that from today. Our venerable monk is Professor Digalli Mahinda. He's a professor from UK. Yes. So thank you for coming here. So yeah, that's what I can say. It is a very good example. Maybe you are not saying bad things to the other person. You are behaving in a way in order to protect from the unnecessary things that can come out from other people. I think we have to do that. Otherwise, you're going to be the victim. They will victimize you. It happens, It happens to many people in many ways. Even for the compassion fatigue, you are very compassionate. Everybody is trying to misuse your time, misuse your work, misuse your everything. Why is it? You don't have smartness in your skillful practice. I always encourage. When you becoming a good person, skillful person, you need some smartness. Otherwise, everybody will come and attack you and then go, say hi and bye. You can't do that, because you have to survive in this rapidly changing world, right? Just by reading a Buddhist book will not help you. Reading the Buddhist book and understanding how to do without getting victimized by other people, that would be the way. Otherwise, I think it's not good. Any others? Yes, you need the mic, huh? Oh, we're almost going to wrap this up, but maybe we will finish with this question. Okay. Yes, I think it's working. Maybe somebody can give the other mic. There's another mic actually. Yes, you can take it.
Bhante, just now you were talking about the victimized part, right? If we have to look at things from, to draw the line where we try to be compassionate but not be victimized, then how would we be able to develop that upeka? Because if every situation we have to analyze and then to have the self-interest not to be victimized, that means it also go against contradicting the upeka concept. Yeah, that's my question.
It is not contradicting upeka, because upeka has different meanings. In the places upeka, the term upeka was given. Now here what we need to understand with this lady's question is about self-care. This is the greater concept that comes into our discussion, self-care. Because why you want to attain Nibbana? Self-care. You don't want to suffer in the samsara, isn't it? Why you want to practice meditation? To have a calm and clear mind. Why? You want to see things clearly. So you want to become a better person and then to become a good person to other people too. Self-care, other care. I think this is between self-care and other care. Upekkha has to be understood in a different context. When you practice self-care and other care in a better way, you will reach up to upekkha. Now, whenever somebody is trying to be mean to you, bad on you, you are not having angry thoughts. You are simply trying to protect yourself. Is it bad? Let's say there's a lady going out in the night. Somebody is following her. What should you do? Run. You have to take whatever the steps to avoid the situation. Flight mode, turbo mode. So this is one example. Let's say you feel that somebody is trying to be violent in front of you, going to be violent, maybe become more violent. So you have to believe your third sense, your gut feelings, right? You may do certain non-harming, harmless, skillful things too, right? So it is about that. It's not about upekkha. Upekkha will arise as a development of that practice, self-care and other care practice. First self-care, then other care. Actually, it is the both in a proper way, not only self-care. So that has to be highlighted. It does not contradict upekkha. Upekkha is the highest quality in Buddhism. It will arise when you properly maintain yourself and other people. Don't take it in the first place.
Bhante, just add on, let's say I give an example. Let's say you're in a workplace or you're in a social environment where you are being taken advantage of. You know, let's say others want to take advantage of you because they want easier things for them, for example. But you don't mind maybe being helpful, all right? So once, twice, and each time when you're being helpful, when you start to be kind, they take advantage of you more. So where do we draw that line?
Story to that her. Now next time when the snake is going away, if somebody is going to stack him up, he's going to show his power and then go away. Yeah, we have to do that. Not that he's going to sting that person, not going to bite, but I can do that. Right? So some kind of a very non-harming defense. It's kind of a non-harming, harmless defense in case it arises. Because we are not dealing with all the good people in the society. Are all the people in society, they are all equally as good as you? As good as these things that we see in the books? No. So we have to deal with everybody. Not with the Dhamma discussion group. How many people are out there? They are coming from different mental background, different environments, different cultures, different maybe domestic life, family households. Maybe they are coming from very different sansaric journeys. You never know until something happens. So then we must have our own self-mechanism in combating unnecessary issues in a good way. Now what happens to many is that when some people are mean to them, they are going to hit back in the same way. This is bad. That's why I say we are not going to do that. We're going to manage us in mitigating, minimizing other issues that can come from people. But people come from different backgrounds. So that's how we're going to look at it. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. Okay, you have a question? Make it short, please. Yes.
Just now Bhante say about the metta and you will be reborn in a pure land.
Yeah, as a continued, consistent practice of metta with impermanence can get you to become reborn in the.
Is it the same as a my mom is the practice for Pure Land Buddhism. Is it the same thing that?
Different approaches. In Mahayana, they have only one pure land.
Yeah, only
Yeah.
one on
But
the west.
Theravada, there are 5 Suddha Vasas, depending on how deepen your practice is. In Pure Land, I don't know people attain Nibbana, but in the Theravadic context, we say that if you become an Anagami,
Yeah,
and then
they were born in the lotus and they will
maybe-
practice
maybe
until they
different
become.
approaches.
Yeah.
yeah,
Is it
maybe.
the same thing?
But there is a difference, because when people practice Pure Land in Mahayana version, they have to keep chanting Amitabha, Amitabha, Amitabha.
Yeah.
There is some sort of mental therapeutic thing. At the same time, you have lots of fears,
Yeah.
right? You might get sick badly, you might get into a coma, you might get killed, you might get sick. So that's fear version a little bit too in that. But it's good, because I don't think that all these, these teachings are easy for everybody to practice. Right? Different people practice in different ways.
So Theravada, Sammā, Sambuddhi, Sammā,
Theravada has 5 pure lands.
Okay. For this Sammā Samādhi practice, we have to do meditation on Vipassana?
No, Vipassana and Samatha, they are part of Samma Sati. We don't take them out. We don't separate them out. When you practice right mindfulness, it has Samatha and Vipassana. Here what we do is, we practice 4 jhanas with the view to understanding the 4 noble truths.
Okay, that's a bit.
Okay, I think
bit more,
you will
because
read
I-
our blog. You will read our previous. Today is the first day of you.
Yeah. I need some Pali language.
Yes, yeah. Give some reading to our previous couple of notes. I think we have done almost 11. Give you the link later.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to wrap
Thank
this
you.
up by transferring good karmas to the departed ones. May all the departed ones be able to receive all these good karmas. May they be well and happy. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukita huntu ñātayo. Idam me sukita huntu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukita huntu ñātayo. May all Deva, Naga, Mahidika be able to receive all these good karmas. May they be well and happy. May they protect all of us for good health, quality of life, prosperity and safety. In particular, may they bless your spiritual journey, Dhamma journey, to become an enlightened person one day. Thinking thus, we're going to give good karmas to the Deva, Naga, Mahidika. Ettavata ammehi sambataṃ puñña sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata puñña sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata Sambataṃ puñña sampadang sabbe sattā anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ākāsattā ca bhummattā devā nāgā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhaṃtu loka sāsanaṃ. Ākāsattā ca Mahiddikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhaṃtu desanaṃ. Ākāsattā ca Deva Naga Mahiddika puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhaṃtu maṃ paranti. Chiraṃ rakkhaṃtu tvaṃ sadāti. In this endless sansaric journey, may we be able to be in the company of the Kalyana Mittas, noble friends, and not be in the company of the Papa Mittas who can pull us out or drag us out from the Dhamma path, in particular the Noble Eightfold Path. So we're going to make a wish by thinking this way. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamu satang samagamu hotu yava nibbana pattaya. Finally, may all the good karmas which we've been accumulating today by understanding, discussing, engaging about what Sammā Samādhi means in the larger, broader context, and Q&As and all these discussions be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silis nichang vaddha pachayino chattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvannu sukhang balang ayurarugya sampatti sagga sampatti me vacha atu nibbana sampatti iminati saminjatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Before you disperse, I wanted to say something. Next Monday, I will not be giving you a note because it's the review. So we will go back to all our notes and be prepared to have a good discussion about the Noble Eightfold Path. And then also I wanted to show you how we're going to proceed from this point onwards. So we have done until 21st here, and then we will be studying about the first noble truth, because we have done this fourth noble truth as a precursor to this sutta study. The first noble truth, second, third, and then we will proceed. So after next Monday, we are going to focus on the first noble truth, which means the dukkha ariya satcha, and the dukkha samudaya ariya satcha, dukkha nirodha ariya satcha. So get ready, be prepared. It will be mostly a Q&A and a discussion. If you have any questions that you may have missed out on asking me, please get ready, write down. You can ask. This is for next Monday. So you'll be not having a note for next Monday because you already given all the notes for that. Have a good night. Take care, and then see you then next Monday. Thank you. Oh, you brought. Yes, thank you very much.